mine. Of course, I use them for email, so it's probably
Let me try.
And maybe, yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
And then just turn the envelope on the left hand side of it.
Okay, so there's not really one on here that I can. Okay. I'll do that. Just go back and forth.
Oh no, you can. The button that has the
This? This thing? Oh, yeah, there it is. That's it? Oh. Okay, so you got me where I'm going now. This is good. So I can flip back and forth. I just want to be able to flip back and forth. Okay.
Sound
Very
good?
good, yeah.
Okay, we're started recording.
yeah.
We're okay. Okay. So, welcome back for some of you that have come to one of our pre-career fair workshop series. And welcome if this is your first workshop coming up before the career fair, which is next Tuesday from 11 to 2. So there are flyers here for you. And here to talk to us about LinkedIn and making sure your profile is as robust as it can be and you're getting the most out of it is Terry Sells from CT Works. So hand it over to you.
Thank you. So how many of you have been to other workshops that we've had here? More than half of you. Okay, that's good. So welcome to new people. And as Corey said, I'm from CT Works, and we are a nonprofit funded by the Department of Labor to help people that are unemployed or underemployed and seeking full-time work. So we are located in Hampton, Meriden, and New Haven. But there are actually multiple Connecticut Works locations around the state of Connecticut. And so if you live up in New London, there's an area there, Waterbury, Hartford, and then Fairfield County. So we just happen to operate the three that are here in the greater New Haven region, okay? So today I wanted to talk to you about your LinkedIn profile. And I'm gonna give you the basics of it, because last time I was here, it seemed like most people either didn't have one, or that you have one but you don't really know how to use it. So let's everybody get onto the computers, and does everybody here at least have a LinkedIn profile? Yes? No? Yes? Yeah. Everybody yes? Does everybody not have one? Okay, so you can start one today. All you need is an email address and create a username and password. So we'll actually kind of do that first, for those of you that don't have one.
Oh my God, I don't even know how to use LinkedIn. I was not thinking, where's the click?
Is that not
Oh.
working?
Kind of have to hover around it.
Oh, thank you, please. Perfect. Thank you so much.
So once you get logged in, go to linkedin.com. And for those of you that don't have one, up in the right-hand corner, it says Join Today. If you're looking at it.
Everybody found where to sign in?
Might help when she's trying to sign up. Is everybody on into the internet?
No, it's another
Yeah. Are you on the internet? You got in? Okay. Did you hit Join Today? Awesome. You got on the internet?
You're right.
So if you're creating one for the first time, take my experience for example. When I was in college, I created my LinkedIn with my alma mater's email, and then when I tried to find it, I couldn't because I didn't remember that I used that email. So use a personal or professional email that you have, so that you'll always remember which, email you use to start it.
That's a very good point, yeah. Keep it, a Gmail account is the best today to use. Because even like sbcglobal.net is outdated, Yahoo is becoming outdated, Gmail is the safest to use in having, don't use your college, email.
No.
Okay.
I put everything in, right? Just that one. Yeah, no, go ahead.
So is everybody signed in to LinkedIn?
No.
No? Do you want to sit here and use
Yeah,
this
that's
computer?
fine.
You want to sit here?
Yep, that's perfect, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead and get signed into the internet. Do you have a LinkedIn profile already?
I do.
Okay, so go ahead and sign into LinkedIn.
What's the password?
Try.
First email, and then
Log in as you. Like your own version. There you go.
Okay, is anybody not in LinkedIn yet?
I'm not, yeah, I can't see this thing. What is this sound?
email.
No, please. Oh, look at you.
Yeah, today you have pizza and we're on the computers, right? The greasy
Can you
fingers.
tell me what this says?
Did you guys get into LinkedIn yet? Remember?
Can I just go on from the web? I can't remember the password.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
it's
is like
gonna
the site
text you,
into
codes.
Albertus.
Actually, LinkedIn security is pretty good, because anytime they see you logging in on a different computer they don't recognize, they'll text a code to you.
Yeah.
They just said.
I have
Sign in.
it on there already, but I don't know what's, I'm just.
So like,
That should let you access it, because
Create
it's
a
just, the
new-
Chromebooks are just internet-based, you,
Oh.
however, I don't know,
Okay,
IT.
okay, wait, let's see here, so.
well, let's see, let's go to your connections and let's see.
You should be able to just log into LinkedIn.
Okay, perfect,
Yeah.
thank you.
This is a new account.
All right, I must have it so.
Yeah, and that has happened to me before
It's happened to me
too,
before as
where you
well.
have multiple LinkedIn accounts, so you wanna make sure that you only have one.
Good. That's a great suggestion. Yes, you didn't realize that you had created one, or, you're creating one now in college and you wait a couple years to touch it again and you forget that you have it. Yeah, absolutely. You want to try and delete the other ones. Is everybody in? No, still waiting for a couple more people.
Mine, I thought mine was, I use my personal email, but apparently I have my work email, so would you suggest I change it to my personal?
Yes.
Yeah.
But, whatever for now, just to get in there, you can change it always later.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
How do I already have the invitation?
I just created
this.
Okay, alright, so we're getting there, right?
Yep.
Do you have an account, or are you creating one today?
I have one.
Okay, so.
Those of you that are creating an account, did you get it created? Yeah, okay.
There you go. Alright, so is everybody in?
Finally.
Almost in, yeah?
Almost in, we're good?
We're good.
Okay. All right, so this happens to be my page on LinkedIn, all right? So I'm gonna flip back and forth showing you various things that we're gonna talk about today. But we recently had a job fair and we had a professional photographer there, so I had them, of course, take my photograph. I had a decent photograph because my iPhone 6 has a pretty good camera on it, but I just went ahead and utilized the professional photographer. But you don't have to spend money on a photograph with a professional photograph or photographer, but try and make sure you've got like a plain color background, either white, off-white, really light color, is what they prefer for the background of most of the LinkedIn photographs, okay? So, there we go there. So, no dogs, fish, or party selfies, okay? This is a professional environment. You want to, if you have a suit, wear, because it goes your shoulders up, so wear a suit. If there are gentlemen here, you want a suit and tie. But this is not a selfie area, okay? You can clearly tell when people are taking selfies, you want it to be professional enough. I have people that come to my office all the time, and I help them set up their LinkedIn profiles, and I just have them stand up against our clean back wall, and they come dressed, from head up, and they're ready to go. So it doesn't have to be done by an actual photographer.
How do you feel about, group pictures, Corey?
Yeah. No, because the group isn't trying to get a job, you're trying to get a job, okay? So it should be just you, that's very good. And a lot of times I see people, it's a picture, they're out in a restaurant or at a party or whatever, and you can clearly see that they've kind of like cut themselves out to put it, crop the photo as much as they can to get that in there. So, no, really have somebody, again, just use a plain wall and have somebody take, make sure the lighting's good, and take a normal, shot of you from head up. So, light backgrounds as I mentioned, okay? The next is your professional headline, all right? How many of you actually already have a photo? Does anybody have? Okay. And statistics say that 40% of the people on LinkedIn won't even view your profile if you don't have a photograph. So those of you that have phobias over using social media and my picture is out there, get over it. You've got to have a photograph on there, okay? You've got your photograph splashed everywhere else. Don't be afraid of having your photograph on LinkedIn, because a lot of people won't look at your profile, including recruiters, if you don't have a photograph there, all right? So make that a priority. So your professional headline. So that's this area here, okay? And you'll see that I've got basically 2.5 lines used, and what is it? 120 characters that you can actually use in this space here. And all I did was, in between here, in between my little keywords, you'll see I just used the capital I to kind of separate it, all right? Just for format purposes. You don't have to do that though. But the keywords that I have there is not necessarily my job title, all right? It's who I am, what I do, and what I can bring to a company, either now or my future company, okay? If I were pursuing other employment, I want people to identify with me, because everything is keyword driven today, even on LinkedIn. So think of yourself as, okay, you're a student today, but what types of jobs are you going for? When you graduate, what types of jobs are you going to be looking for? And use the keywords, when you're doing your job search, those are the types of things that you want to be really cognizant of, even in your cover letter and your resume, as we've talked about. So it's no different here on LinkedIn, okay? And you have 120 characters, so that's really a lot of space. As you can see, I've used up 3 rows, or 2.5 rows, and I could probably fit in maybe 4 more words there to describe who I am and what I do, okay? So the next thing, zip code, Greater New York City area. Who knows if we should put our zip code or if we should put Greater New York City area? Is everybody from Connecticut, by the way? That's in here? Okay. A lot of people put Greater New York City area in this right here, because if I live in Ansonia, and there's a job that's in Hartford, and a recruiter's contacting me, and I have 06401 there instead of Greater New York City area, that recruiter may say, gosh, she lives in 06401, that's Ansonia, that's going to be like an hour and 15 at least every day, one way. I don't think she might be interested in the job, let's not contact her. You don't want them making the decision for you when you don't commute for a job, okay? So the best thing is to put greater New York City area, that way it's a very large area, yes. Does that encompass New York itself and into New Jersey? Yes. But a lot of people in this area of Connecticut put greater New York City area, and it's understood by people that are either in recruiters or hiring managers. They get it that you're willing to drive in that vicinity, okay? So don't let somebody else make that decision for you, okay? And then your industry, which is a toughie. That's one thing on LinkedIn I wish they would change, to be honest with you. This area right here, I have professional training and coaching, which is definitely pretty close to what we do. But if you look in, if I go over, wait, seriously? So if I'm editing my profile, if I'm in that area to edit my profile, you'll see over here, the little pencils are the items that you're going to click on to edit the area. And then down here is where you're going to put your country, your postal code, or you're going to click on Greater New York City area. Here is the list of the industries, and to be honest with you, it's not a great list. In other words, if you even just want to go for an administrative assistant job, you've got to truly choose an industry, whether it be the steel industry or, economics or whatever, automotive. I mean, it doesn't say administrative, professional or administrative support, anything like that to really describe what you do. It's really about an industry. So that's not a great, but you have to fill it out. So you've got to choose something that's close to you.
Terry, what would you suggest for students that are still in school and maybe they're not even close to graduation? Do you think they should put educational, is it understood if they're younger that educational as in they're a student, or do you think they should just choose an industry, whatever seems vague enough, in the area that they want to go into?
Yeah,
or is it kind of like 60 doesn't have to,
Yeah, and that's a good question. I don't know. There's e-learning here, but again, it doesn't mean that.
So they don't even, yeah.
There was something about education the other day that I was looking through here.
So they should really look more for the area that they want to go into as opposed to just identifying that they're a student?
Yeah, I think so, because that's the best way, because there's really so limited of what is here.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I didn't even think about asking. If I find a better answer to that, I'll let you know.
Well,
so you can send out to everybody.
The list is not great, so that's what makes it tough, right?
Yeah, it's really hard. So, those of you that are are already in LinkedIn and have a profile set up, these little pencils here, if you click on those, then that means you're gonna change whatever that area is. I can change my name, I can change, here's where I'm gonna change my headline, okay, I'm gonna type it in there. The nice thing also about your headline is that you can type in your headline here and then see what other users in your industry are using. You can click on that, and then it'll show you various profiles that have similar attributes as you. And just, for examples, definitely take a look at those, because that will help you see. Here's going to be a bunch of people that have similar skills as me, and they're giving me their profiles as examples to look at.
I'm sorry, how did you get there?
So over when I'm in
Yep.
here, I'm over to the right-hand side to type in my headline, and then it says show examples. You can see what others use in your industry are using, and you just click on that, and that's where it'll populate some samples. Like, don't go into this thinking that you've got to reinvent the wheel. Look at other people that are in your industry or that you want to go into and how they set up their profile, because the best ideas are stolen. Don't stress over it. Okay? So then I can, actually this guy here came up first because he's very highly rated. He does exactly what I do, and he runs LinkedIn career sessions as well as other things. in a career center up in Lowell, Massachusetts. So, and he writes a ton of information on LinkedIn all the time. So he's very highly respected in the community, and I look to him all the time for how is he showing his profile, things he's sharing, what should I be doing, that type of thing, because he does exactly what I do. All right? So that's a great idea is to look for those things. All right? Let's see the next thing. Posts. So this is the pulse, which is where your editorial feed, for lack of better words, is going to come into, and it's a blog area. And what I started doing when I switched careers into the profession that I'm in now, and helping people with their careers and their job seeking, is I published blogs about things that would interest them. Okay, so because I want to be seen as an expert in my industry, I have a lot of knowledge, let's share that. And then, you know, if a recruiter is looking for someone with my skills, they're going to see that, oh, she's into this, she's done some research, that she's up with the latest trends, that type of thing. So there's 300 to 2,000 words with images and links that you can use in space here. And let me go back to the other area. This is how you would view me if you were a connection to me. The other view is if I'm editing my profile. So this is the area right here that I'm talking about. So these are just, I mean, I haven't published something. I've been a very naughty girl. I haven't published something since July. But my goal really is I would love to do something quarterly and then eventually monthly. And it's good because you're doing research on what you're working in, and you learn at the same time. And it keeps your writing skills fresh. You're using obviously the internet to search for photographs, things like that.
So something that may help with that is, for a given industry, there are publications or organizations that govern the guidelines, the ethics behind those organizations. So take, for example, hiring. There are a number of different organizations that govern the things that we do in this field, in this industry, that keep us up to date on what's going on. We have the Chronicle of Higher Education, things like that, where if you subscribe to them, if they're free or if you have to pay a fee, you get that information on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly basis. So just figure out what, in your industry that you're going into, what are the publications and organizations that govern your particular industry.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. If you're a criminal justice major, there may be a certain focus that you're looking to go into. Maybe it's, families and children, whatever it might be. Well, probably on LinkedIn alone, or just obviously, definitely on Google, there's probably millions of articles that you could be reading, and then offer your insight on something. Either something new, a law was just passed, legislation was just passed, share. That's how you can share information about what's going on in your industry, okay?
So Terry, you're not just sharing someone else's article, it's essentially a blog, like a professional blog, so you're writing your own thoughts about something, and then potentially linking or adding photos or whatever, but this is your own
point of view.
Okay.
Yep,
I've never used that feature before, so that's good to know.
Yeah, it says right here, published by Terry, okay?
Gotcha.
So, and right here it says I have 1,333 followers. That's my total of my profile, okay? It doesn't mean that I have that many followers of my posts, all right? Certainly, but my followers, all these followers will get my posts, okay? When it comes into the feed on the home page, when I pull up LinkedIn on my home page, see all these editorial pieces here? Okay, that's where these things start to come in. And that's where they're shared. And if I have 1,300 connections, my connections are going to see my editorial postings, basically, But they'll also see if I do an update. So right here, it says share an update. Some of these could be updates. Okay, so I can click on this, and it says, what's on your mind? So I can do a short snippet, I can do something lengthy, again with links, photograph, something like that. I use that quite a bit when I'm going to promote either a workshop that we're doing, event that we're gonna have, because it's all free, and it's just, it just constantly flows into my connections, the 1,300 people, it comes into their feed, okay, on the homepage of editorial information. And this changes, I can't believe actually there it goes, three new updates just came in, so now it's gonna filter and push everything down. It's just a constant feed, okay? So you can do it one of two ways. The post is one way, that's a little bit more of a personal type thing, but but the shorter way is the update, and here you can upload a photo, or here you can do the post, which is a much longer way. And this is how you would start doing that.
So, take for example, so some of you guys are doing major assignments, research papers in your classes. Granted, it's within the 2,000 words, you may be able to say, in my senior sim class or like in your senior capstone class, if you did a big project, you may be able to, if it's related to your field, you may be able to add parts of that research you did onto that as one of your posts,
Yeah,
if you wanted to.
that's a great idea. That's a really good idea. Yep. And please keep interjecting, because I'm thinking, obviously, not a student as much.
Yeah,
So
right.
you guys have more of that stuff than I do. Okay. So that's that. There we go. Okay, the summary area. Okay. How many of you have it in first person? Those of you that have LinkedIn profiles. Or do you not know? First person, third person, not sure? Okay. First person is more authentic. I kind of have a mixture of mine, to be honest with you. But like it says, third person is easier to brag, okay, because you talk about I. But you have 2,000 characters in this area. And this is the summary, just like on your resume. It's an area for you to tell somebody about who you are, what you do, what makes you tick, what you're passionate about, how, why, but here on LinkedIn, you're not limited by pages of a resume. You can go and go and go, okay, for space. You don't have to be short and succinct. And remember that this last bulletin, target your audience. What can you do for them? Show them kind of who you are, why you do what you do, what you can do for them. That's, again, we've talked about this in other classes. It's not about you, but it's about what can you bring to the table to that employer, okay? So think about your skills that you've gained in college. Think about, jobs that you've had, that type of thing. And this is where you can start displaying it. Okay, so here's in the background area on mine, that's a summary. And then I have a link here to, again, my employer's website, all right, that you could go to. So if you have, video is big today, links, definitely include those in there. Anything that, if you've written something and it was published, if you have a website up, depending on your major, you might have a website. So that's where you can share it, of maybe some of the things that you've done. Okay?
Terry?
Yeah.
You also showed YouTube in there as well?
Yeah, YouTube video of something, again, that you've talked about, something that you've done, that you're passionate about, that, again, is focused on kind of some of your skills that you can bring to the table for somebody. Okay? And 6, here's where we're going to start talking about some employment, what position you hold, what job title you're actually seeking. So some of you might only have part-time employment, or have really employment that has nothing to do with the types of jobs that you're really seeking, but still include them, okay? For right now, it's good to show that you at least have some employment history, okay? So put that information down. And remember that we're in a keyword society, so keywords, be very strategic about the types of keywords that you use in the job title, as well as starting to describe what you've done and what you've accomplished, okay? And there's a maximum of 100 characters in the title line, so I wanted to show you that. So here, for instance, business services specialist, okay? And then I have the name of the company, and you'll see over here is a logo, and as I scroll over it, that highlights that Workforce Alliance actually has a company page, okay, on LinkedIn. So that's why the logo pops up. That's a little small, we're gonna have to fix that actually, but it should be much bigger. And I think it's because we're changing from CT Works, Workforce Alliance to American Job Centers. So they just have it up there temporarily. But I have CT Works, Workforce Alliance, even though I technically don't work for Workforce Alliance, I knew that Workforce Alliance is the actual company page, so that's why I have that in there. So that somebody, if I just put CT Works there, they're not gonna wonder why I have a Workforce Alliance logo, okay? And if I don't type in Workforce Alliance, I wouldn't be able to get that logo there anyways, okay? So I've got to type until I can find a company that's there.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So if I worked for a company called the App Foundation, but they were subcontractor for Yale University, how do you post that? How would you?
If you technically were hired by App Foundation, that's what I would put down, as to get the logo to pop up. But you could continue on, because you have a lot of space here, that you could go, let me actually change this and show you what I mean.
Because I work for the research psychology department at Yale, and I worked on Yale facilities, but.
Yep.
Apps.
So what you could do here is click into this, and see where it says here, change company, or edit display name? So you could put in, so I have CT Works Workforce Alliance, so that, again, my logo would pop up. But I could edit the display name. So here's where I could put CT Works, I could put App Foundation / Yale New Haven Health Systems or whatever like that. I could add that to it. So
Okay.
because Yale, you're absolutely right, has much greater weight, and you'd want to definitely mention that.
Right.
Yep.
And Terry, same thing if someone is working a temp position, so they should technically list the temp organization that's paying sending their bills, right? And then the company that they're working at, does that get tricky? Because we see that fairly frequently.
That's a great question, yeah. I would do it the other way around. I would, yes, I would first list to get the company's name so it might pop up, the logo to pop up, but then edit the display name.
Okay.
So I might want to put, I might want to put Yale New Haven Hospital. Okay. And then through Monroe Staffing.
Okay.
I would probably do
So
that.
you get the weight of the
Yeah.
organization.
The weight of
that
the
you-
business, and then they understand that obviously it was either a temporary or a temp to perm type job. And then eventually, obviously, if you get the direct hire and you're hired, then obviously you don't need to put the staffing agency down there because you're fully employed by that company. Yeah, that's a great.
Because there are 2 or 3 temp agencies coming to the career fair, and they are a great way of getting your foot in the door, especially in some industries where they're looking to hire from temps. It's a great way, so don't, take it off your list, talk to them and see the opportunities if they had any good fits for you. Because
Absolutely.
they're always looking for qualified individuals that are pursuing, higher education, and, they want to put their best foot forward with their clients, they want to send good potential employees.
I work very closely with Adecco in Orange, and we've had a number of customers hired through there because today's human resource climate has changed. A lot of companies don't have HR, like they used to, even 5 and 10 years ago. So they are outsourcing their hiring needs to agencies. And yes, you might initially become an employee of the agency at first until 60 or 90 days are through, but then that company, their intention is to hire you. They just want to go through as least paperwork and least stress of getting somebody on board as possible. And the easiest way for them to do that might be to outsource the hiring through the agency. and they're willing to pay that agency, by the way, to find the best candidate to do this job. So, it's on the agency to do the background check and to kind of pre-qualify candidates. The company probably has the ultimate yes or no for each of their candidates, but they're probably going to be a 90-day employee of the employment agency first, and then they'll be hired directly, with the company, and then from that point on, from that day, you're a full-time employee with that company. I see it over and over and over again, constantly, with people that I'm working with, that employment agencies they have to be part of your job search, without a doubt. I know Schick and Milford specifically, they are almost exclusively hired through Adecco in Orange. Some higher up positions, they definitely have some recruiters that are around the country, and actually I have a girlfriend that's a recruiter for them. Certain higher up positions, but most of the jobs are they're all filtered through Adecco, because of the volume. The volume is tremendous, all right? They have to have a ton of people on staff in human resources to handle the volume. And the turnover is great. The turnover in lower level, entry level positions today is very high. So that's a lot of work for an HR person inside their company. So now they just, let me hire an employment agency to do that. So make sure you connect with, go on to, do you have a list of, are the
Yes.
agencies on that list of the employers?
Yeah,
that
it's
are coming?
in Hire Falcon, and then on Monday I plan on sending out an email to everyone with a list of all the people that are coming and what types of positions they have available, so part-time, full-time, internship, volunteer, or a mix of those, so that will come out on Monday as a reminder that the career fair is on Tuesday. But I know for sure Monroe Staffing and Kelly Services and Kelly Educational Services, and I think there's a third one that I just can't remember.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so I would go on to their websites just like a regular employer, like we talked about last time. Go on and research their company and see what positions they have there. Now, those are obviously just what they have now, but there's always, it's constant. Literally, I get updates from Adecco, and he always sends me an update of open positions, and it's just constantly changing. Because at any given day, a company could contact them with, hey, here's 10 positions, here's 5 positions, or whatever, to post and get eligible candidates, okay? So definitely make that part of your visit on Career Day, all right? So, there's that. And education is next on the field. So go down here, I just quickly too, to backtrack a little bit, but here's my full-time job right now, and I listed my one achievement that I had. I have lots of achievements, but this was a big one that I wanted to put. So recently, this last fall, I created the whole job fair from scratch by myself, and so it was a pretty big achievement, and we had great success with it in the community. We got the first selectman on board, everything, so that's why I chose to put that one there, other than the specific things that I do day to day. Here are recommendations, and we'll talk about those, but here's my part-time job, and I think I've shared with this before. I actually got that before I got this full-time job, so I still have that. And there's something to say about people, if you have a part-time job and you're loyal to that employer, that if it comes time for you to get a recommendation or something like that, that part-time employer can still give you a recommendation, and they can find ways in talking with the employer that you're going to apply to. They can tell that employer about your skills. You may not think that a retail store job, which is what that is, that they don't know enough about you, of how to relate that to a full-time job. They can do that. Okay, the managers are very smart. So list that stuff. Don't be shy in keeping that off of your LinkedIn profile.
Terry, just need if students have a 1:10 class, I know that we're edging towards our supposed end time, mostly because I asked a lot of questions. So if you have to go, you can leave the Chromebook just closed and you can scoot out, but feel free to stay because there obviously, there's more to learn about LinkedIn.
Thank you. So here's all the listings, going down my jobs, because I'm old, and where's education? There is education, okay? So again, this works much like a job, whereas the logo popped up, okay? University of New Haven is my alma mater, And when I started typing that in, UNH logo, came up because they have a company page here. So if you're typing in a company or your college and the logo doesn't pop up, that means they don't have a company page. Don't freak out, okay? It's just, some companies and some education institutions are not there yet by having a company page on LinkedIn, all right? I don't know, does Alberta's have?
Mhm.
They do?
And you
Okay.
can search, I think in the packet you handed out, you can go on and search for a university. So you can go to Alberta SMAC or University or College, you go to our official page, and then you can search the alumni, which is a great way if you're trying to network. You can go to Alberta's page and then go to connect with people and search by major within, like by criminal justice or English, within alums, and then you can reach out and connect with those people.
Yeah, that'd
And
be
you already have Albertus to talk about as one of your connecting points, which is a great way of networking through there. So definitely connect yourself to Albertus, because then people can find you that way,
Yes,
and you're
absolutely,
within the database.
absolutely, yep. Okay, skills and endorsements. Oops, sorry, I went backwards. Okay, you can add up to 50 skills, and that's what this area is right here. And the top 10 that I'm trying to gain more recommendations for are listed up on top. And then up, there's another 40 down here, and then I can, open that up and you can see all of them. Now, I told you before, I've done a career change, so a lot of my endorsements from the years past are for things that may be not really relevant to my job now. So what I did is you can shift these around and determine which ones you want in priority to be up in your top 10. So that these are, anybody that you're connected to, they will constantly be asked to recommend you or endorse you for those skills. That's why it's important to be connected